Long Beach Unified. Good afternoon, our Long Beach community, and thank you for joining us here today on this Thursday afternoon. I know that we as parents, our time is valuable. We have lots to do. So it's because of that, I really want to thank you for taking the time and being with us here today. Today, our focus is for our middle school families that are in our APEX program, but for all families who are tuning in today, you will find some value in what our great presenters will be sharing with us. Today, we have an administrator from the APEX program. We have Ms. Laura Martin with us. We have a representative from the middle school office, Mr. George Sy. We have our social and emotional learning teacher on special assignment, Ms. Amy Love. We have a teacher, one of our teacher leaders in the APEX program, Ms. Julie Kilpack. And we have our counselor, our middle school counselor with us today, Ms. Nora Valdez. So thank you all for being here today. Parents, if you have questions, we invite you to ask your questions right underneath this Google link or right underneath this YouTube link. There is a Google form where you can go ahead and type in your questions. So if you have questions throughout this presentation, we invite you to share with us via the Google form that you can find right underneath this YouTube link. And again, thank you for being here today. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it to Ms. Kilpack. And I'm going to pass the torch to you. Again, thank you, Long Beach parents, for joining us today.
Thank you, Rebecca. Hi and welcome. I just want to say thank you for being here. We are going to be talking a little bit slower. We are translating simultaneously, and we just want to give our translators a chance to translate. So we are going to be going a little bit slower. And so I just want to say hello and welcome. I want to start off by saying how grateful I am to have had the opportunity to work with such an amazing group of students and families in APEX. This has been a challenging time for so many families, but your kids have really stepped up and took a chance into the unknown with independent study with APEX, and they have shown perseverance, growth, and independence. So today we're going to talk about some things. I'm going to talk about the coaches report. And this is a great opportunity for you to work with your child and see how they are doing. Amy Love is going to give you motivation strategies for your middle school APEX student, and our counselor, Nora Valdez, she's going to give you resources for emotional health and some warning signs. And then at the end, we'll be answering your questions. So some community agreements just to help us get the most out of this presentation. Be present, actively participate with the form, and embrace curiosity. Please ask questions. No question is a bad question, and we are here to help you. So please do ask those questions. All right, so I'm going to get into the coaches report. The coaches report is a report of weekly activity on APEX by your child. This comes in the form of an email, and it's usually around Sunday about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And if you are signed up, please check your junk mail because it comes as a no reply from APEX. And included in the report is a weekly APEX usage time, assignments that are completed and not completed, and upcoming assignments for the week. Also included in this report are your child's scores and grades as of that past week. And if you're not getting it, please contact one of your child's teachers and they can add you or any adult that you request if there is another person that is helping you with support. And this report is such a great tool to see your child's progress and keep them on track, organized, and motivated. And I find it such a great tool. This is a sample of what you would see on a coach's report. So we obviously blocked out the names. So this was at the beginning of the semester. And you can see all of the courses. And then you'll see where it says stoplight, you'll see green. Green is good. Green means that your child is on track and that they're doing exactly what they should be doing. Then we have our quality of work and grade to date. So the quality of work is how well your child is understanding the material. The grade to date is a combination of that and whether they are finishing their work on time. And then you'll see last access. That was the last time your child logged into that class. What you really want to look for is when the green turns to yellow or red. Those are warning signs. Yellow means that they're falling a little behind, and red means that they're not passing. So you really want to be aware of that. And then right next to your student's name, it says detailed report. So if you click on that, that's going to take you to another screen where you're going to get more detail. So this is the detailed report, and where it says classroom, there's a toggle, and you can go up and down to see all of your child's classes. So this one is on an algebra class, and this student is on green, and this was at the beginning of the semester. So their quality of work is at a 94%. And for this week, the student in this class spent less than 1 minute. So as the semester goes on, you're going to find that there's going to be more time. And it gives you the detail on exactly what they are spending their time on, whether it's assessment, instruction, or others. Then down there where it says activities completed, that's everything they did for the week. And this is where I'd really like you to focus on some praise and really focusing on the positive and really giving them some praise for everything that they did do that week, and really focus on what they did do versus what maybe they didn't do. And down below, you'll see activities overdue or not yet scored. And those are the activities that they missed. So maybe you want to talk through that with them and say, hey, what happened? Let's get it done. Let's work together. And that's when you can maybe talk to your child about, was it too hard? Maybe you need to reach out to your teacher. And then next to it is activities due this week. And that's where you can plan your week. So what I suggest to my parents is maybe sit down on Sunday night or Monday morning and go over this report and kind of plan out the week with them and what is expected of them, and some expectations, and maybe some time management also. And so one of the questions I get a lot is the quality of work versus grade to date. So the quality of work is the student's performance on graded assignments, quizzes, and exams. For example, how well are they understanding the material? So if the quality of work is high, but the grade to date is low, then the student is working behind schedule. So they're turning in things late, and that's going to affect their grade. So apexlearning.com has some really great parent resources, and you can go to the website without signing in, and they have some wonderful, wonderful resources to help you understand the APEX program. And that's all I have for the coaches report.
Thank you, Julie. Hey, folks, parents and caregivers. My name is Amy Love, and I am a teacher on special assignment. I'm a social emotional learning specialist with the Office of School Support Services here in Long Beach Unified. And before we get started, I want to just take a moment to ask you to reflect right here, right now. How are you? Let's reflect on and check in with each other and ourselves on how we're doing. So if you take a look at this sheep scale, on a scale of 1 to 9 sheeps, with all honesty and no judgment, knowing that living and parenting middle schoolers during this pandemic is quite challenging, where do you fall today? Are you a 1? Do you have a bucket over your head like a 4? Are you flying high like a 9? How are you in this moment? Maybe just take a couple of deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth, just honoring however you're arriving in this moment is just fine. And we're so grateful to have this opportunity to get to connect with you and to share some ideas. I want to talk to you a little bit today about motivation. and supporting our middle school students with motivation, particularly as they navigate their learning in the APEX program. I want to just remind you that motivation has a few different parts to it. That motivation includes what activates us, what maintains us, and what guides us. So you can think about motivation. I really like this particular graphic because it is a windy road. Whenever we set our sights on a goal, it's often not a straight line from the beginning to the end of our goal. I think about usually around January 1st of a new year, how I usually will put in place a goal for myself that has something to do with my weight or my diet and being more healthy. And usually at the beginning, I'm activated by wanting to do better. And the same thing happens with our middle school students. The windy part really seems to come in maintaining our goals, right? And staying motivated throughout the ups and downs and the challenges that can come. So we know that it's difficult. And I want to share with you some ideas that can support us in helping our middle school students navigate this windy road. So I really like the framework that John Keller uses for motivation. He calls it ARCs, and there are 4 parts to motivation according to John Keller. And the first is attention. And with attention, that means that not only as teachers do we need to support our students by capturing and maintaining their curiosity and interest, when our learners are at home doing independent study, then as parents and caregivers, we have a role in helping them maintain that curiosity and that interest as well. And then there's relevance. And with relevance, that means that, again, as teachers, parents, and caregivers, we have a role in helping our students maintain a connection between what they're learning now and how it's going to positively impact them now and well into the future. And then there's the confidence part of this framework. And that is making sure that our students are continuously experiencing success, even the smallest of successes. So I really like what Julie shared earlier about the coaches report. And when there are things that they're doing well, when they've accomplished a task or maybe turned in a piece of homework that was missing, that we really help them feel the success of those events. And then there's satisfaction. And that's like the reward part that we know middle schoolers can definitely can help with their motivation, is to make sure that they are satisfied. So if we take a look at each of these components of the ARCS framework, I'll share with you a few simple motivation strategies that have worked for myself as a parent. My kids are now off in university, but I remember with joy and tears their middle school years, and that have also helped me as a teacher. So if we take a look at the attention strategies, with attention, what we're finding now during distance learning, that they're really small things can make a really big difference in supporting our APEX students in maintaining their attention during the day. And they have a lot to do with the physiology of our bodies. And that is to build in and encourage our young people to take breaks throughout the day as much as possible, even if that means during the transition from one content to the next, that they literally maybe just stand up and stretch a little bit, to walk outside even just for a moment, to take some deep breaths of fresh air outside, to see this, let the sun shine on their faces. I know this might not sound impactful, but the research really does show that this can help and improve their attention and keep them maintaining their focus. The other thing that is crucially important right now is that our young people get proper rest and nutrition. One of the things that we know that middle schoolers don't always do when it's left up to them is get the right kind of nutrition. So if you have middle school students who are home during the day while you're working, making sure that they're encouraged to take breaks where they eat healthy and nutritious snacks can make a really big difference. If your kids are like mine and I left them to their own devices, they would eat Takis and popcorn probably for all 3 meals. So the attention piece, even though those seem simple, they can be quite impactful. And then there's relevance. And relevance means that we're helping to make connections with our young people to the content. And that's where you can talk to them about how math has positively impacted you and your life and potentially in your career, or history, or social science, or literature, really helping them understand how their studies now will impact them later. I really like being able to use the coach's report to chart goals. The idea of sitting down with your youth on Sundays to make a plan for the week is a wonderful way to help them stay connected to the relevance. And then among all of the strategies that promote motivation for young people and adults, nothing is more powerful and nothing is more researched than staying connected to our why. So continuously revisiting with our students why we go to school, why we're in the APEX program, why this particular course of study in math or English, why it's going to impact us positively, and helping them stay connected to that why is huge. Maybe the why, and we need to really keep it very relevant to our middle schoolers and their developmental age as adolescents. So the why, if it's because good grades make me feel good, then that is a really positive why. If the why is because my parents are going to give me a couple dollars for that, changing that C into a B, then that's appropriate. The why can be anything from we want you to get into a really great high school to being able to have extra gaming and screen time later. So whatever motivates your kids and helps them stay connected, go for it. All right. And so then the confidence piece. This is the piece where we want to make sure that we're celebrating successes. And, I know that sometimes our middle school students can seem like they're big and bad, but they really are still very young people. And when you hang their report cards on the refrigerator, it makes a huge difference. When they have improved a grade and you celebrate it, it makes a huge difference. So we want to make sure and encourage teachers, parents, anyone in the school community that's connected with our Apex youth that's on this call now to really help them celebrate so that they feel confident in what they're doing. Embarking on Apex as an adolescent is a quite courageous endeavor. To be able to do schooling on your own and motivate yourself, that alone is to be celebrated. The other idea that I want to share with you here is leveraging our students' strengths and being really forgiving of their challenges. So really highlighting and building upon the things that our students are doing well. And then the S for satisfaction. One of the things that we're finding with students who are engaging in independent study is when they have opportunities to gather together in buddy groups to study, that they find that very satisfying and motivating to stay connected to the learning and also to stay connected with their peers, because the pandemic is isolating in nature, even for students who are doing learning, synchronous and asynchronous learning with peers. For our APEX students, we want to make sure that that isolation doesn't debilitate them. So having them in buddy study groups can be very impactful. Also giving your students choice on when they want to study which content area can be very supportive. and then rewards. I kind of talked about that a little bit in relevance, but wanted to share also, you all know what motivates your middle school students more than anyone. They're your kids. And to really leverage what you know about them, what you know about that interests them, that motivates them, that makes them feel connected and special within your family and within the larger school family, that's really going to be quite impactful. I hope these few strategies will support you in continuing to help our kids be successful, and want to thank you for your time knowing how busy you are as parents, and am really excited to get to introduce you to Nora. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Love. Thank you. We have had a few questions that have come through. So Ms. Kilpack, I'm going to, we do have a parent question. What does it mean when the quality of work is the same as the grade to date?
That means that they've turned everything on time and have had minimal attempts on the assessments.
Okay. Okay, that's the only question we have at the moment that we're going to take right now, but we will have some later. And again, thank you, Ms. Love, for some of the great tips. Again, whether your student, I think, is asynchronous or synchronous or doing the Apex learning, I think those are some wonderful things for all of us to remember with our students. So thank you. Okay, Ms. Valdez.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here with us today. I do want to address one of the questions that was posted. One question stated, how do I feel, how can I be connected to my school community? Just remember that you are still a part of your school. And so you will be getting some of those communications from clubs, organizations, activities that are happening at the school site. So please, please feel free to join those clubs, especially for your children. Let them know that they are open to them. And just like Amy said, you know, we need to be connected. And as a counselor, I have to say that I have felt a bit of anxiety myself over the past year. And that anxiety really lies with not being able to connect with your children in the ways that we were accustomed to. So your children have been used to coming to school, having a trusted adult, feeling connected with other students, and like we have already expressed, being physically healthy. And so those are the type of things that are very important for the children. And we truly, truly do miss our students. I think for all of us here today, that has been a big impact on us as well. So just know that we cannot wait until we see your children physically. And, you know, we are looking forward to that day. Today, I will briefly talk about some suicide warning signs. Just know that the amount of time that I'm going to speak on this is very brief, and that we will have another workshop in May that will address this topic more in detail. But today I would just briefly touch on the subject of suicide warning signs and how you can be that gatekeeper. When the children are here physically at our school sites, we are that adult that sometimes your child can trust to come and tell us things that are going on with them. And that is the reason why I tell you, as a counselor, I miss the students, and I really do have that anxiety, because I really want to be connected to the students, and I want them to be able to trust me to tell me what may be happening with them. But for now, what this pandemic has cost us, well, I won't say cost, but I actually think that it has been a good opportunity for parents as well to be with their children and be those gatekeepers. So I ask you, how are your children feeling? You know, we know that teens react emotionally. They are not rational. You know, us as adults, we act rationally when we are hit with this situation that we can't handle. So we have some of those coping skills that we can tell ourselves, okay, Nora, calm down. You know what? Let's think about this a little more. But our teens, they react with emotions. And it's okay. It's okay because, you know, their brains are still developing. If I won't get too much into the scientific part of the brain, but our brain fully matures until we're 22 sometimes. You know, I'm not sure on the age, but I know that it's after your 20s. And so these emotions impact our parts of the brain and are responsible for our learning. And part of that is decision making. So our students, the way they feel really impacts their decisions. Once again, you as parents will be the gatekeepers to their emotions during this time for the most part. I'm sorry, did I freeze?
I don't think so. Do we need the next slide?
Yes, thank you.
Miss Martin? Is that the last slide or did we have some more? There we go. Okay, we're back.
I'm sorry. If we can go back to the next slide, the past slides. Okay. So you as the gatekeepers right now with your children, 4 out of 5 youth say, do, write, or draw something that comes to the attention of an adult or peer. So if your child displays any of these suicide warnings, I really, really want you to access help immediately. During this time, you can contact the school counselor at any time, but there is also another person who is very critical at this point. Going back to what I said about your student being physically healthy, you can always contact your primary doctor. So please, please, please reach out to your primary doctor. Know that how your child is feeling physically and mentally affects their well-being. So please contact your primary caregiver. If you do hear your child talk about or show any type of suicide warnings. Now, what are some of these warnings? Your child can tell you right off the bat, you know what, I want to kill myself. Please do not take those words for granted. Or they could say it indirectly. People will be better off without me. All of these warning signs are a display of help for your student. And I will go back to, how is your child feeling? They may be depressed. They may feel that they are isolated from everyone else. They may have changes in behavior. They will have mood swings. They're always talking or maybe have this infatuation with death. Dark pictures, programs displaying death. They may also have a plan. They may tell you, you know what? When we go on the car this afternoon, I think I'm going to open the door and jump out. They may be browsing the internet. Please, please, please do not take these warning signs, for granted. One of the things too, that when you're talking to your children, don't say things like, oh, It's a phase. You're gonna get over this. What are you talking about? Really take time to listen and show empathy. I know we are all going through a very difficult time. Maybe personally, we're going through some situations as well at work, at home, and with that, keeping in mind too that you have to also keep focus of how you're feeling as well. So not to steer away from our children, but if you need that type of support as well, I urge you to also contact your primary doctor as well. Sometimes people have asked me, well, what are the risk factors? If somebody I know, a relative died of suicide, will this happen with my child? There is no one predictor or cause of suicide. It is often a combination of factors along with precipitating events. So if all of those events come together all at once, these are warning signs. So please do not take any of these warning signs for granted. What this pandemic has provided parents the opportunity actually is for a time to build and form strong relationships with our children. Like Amy was saying, we have to express care. Don't be afraid to talk to your children about some top subjects, and don't be afraid to tell them that you don't have the answers. Listen to them and let them know that you are going to reach out and get support for them. So always follow up, ask follow-up questions so that they do know that you're interested in what they are saying and that they are important to you. Also, another way to express care is to do things for and with your child, even if you don't want to do those things. I have 3 adult boys, and they're all telling me, come on, Mom, let's catch the football. I'm not a very good catcher and I can't throw the ball very well, but I go ahead and do that with them because that's a time for us to bond. And that's a time when they're always stuck in their room, right? Our children are always stuck in the room on the computer, but that kind of gives them the outlet or that time away from the screen to have those conversations with me. So I'm not going to take that time for granted. I'll go ahead and catch that football or, not throw a perfect spiral, but I'll go ahead and give them that time. That expresses that I care. I care for them. Be dependable and someone that they can trust. And once again, having those little moments just to listen. Listening is really tough, as a parents. We always want to give advice, but during this time, it's very important. Once again, I'm going to emphasize this over and over. Listen and really show empathy. Express the care for them. Another thing that you want to do with your child right now is challenge them to grow. Like Amy expressed and Julie expressed, expect your children to do their best. I know we are not in a regular school setting, but they still have goals. And like Amy said, reward them if they meet those goals. Teach your children that making mistakes is a part of learning. That's another challenge as well. We can go to the next slide. Sorry. You will notice that a lot of these slides pretty much go over the same thing, provide support. When you teach your child a skill, demonstrate it by breaking it into smaller steps. I, you know, like Julie was saying, when you go through that coach's report, there's often times when we get behind on assignments, and you may want to finish them all at once, right? That night, you're behind. Let's start with assignment number 1 so we could get to assignment number 5. I'm going to tell you to take a backwards approach to it. Start with the most recent assignment and work your way back. Correct? Ms. Kilpack will tell you the same thing. And, start with what you have now and then work your way back. When your children are not getting the help they need, find people who can address the issue. Once again, ask those questions. And if you do not have the answers, let them know you don't have the answers, but let them know that you are going to find the support for them, whether it's their teacher, whether it's the counselor, whether it's the doctor, whether it's some of the agencies that I'll share with you in just a bit. Also, share power with them. Include your children in thinking about the decisions that you're making together, even when you have to make the final call. Make them feel like they're a part of the decision, or, give them a little piece of the cake, and then you just ended with with the water coming down. But yeah, let them have a little piece of it. When you both can come to an agreement on a situation, it will validate what they thought or what they wanted, and it will also give you the power as well. But it's very important right now, and I'm going to emphasize it over and over again. Really validate those feelings that your children are going through. And when you disagree, take time to understand each other's point of view. We have been through, a thunderstorm over this last year, whether it's politics, our closing of the schools, and you may have a significant other that you didn't agree with. Well, just remember, all these conversations happening inside our home are affecting our children, and our children are their own self as well. So they might not necessarily agree with mom's point of view. They might not necessarily agree with dad's point of view. They have their own point of view because they are their own individual, and we have to validate that. But we can listen to each other's point of views without judgment, but understanding. And then when we listen to their point of view, we then find out who that person is. So I always say, they make a mistake. I'll give you an example. One of my children did something bad. This was when they were younger, but we already had a Disneyland, outing for Saturday. And my child made a mistake, and he felt like he was not going to go to Disneyland on Saturday. But I told him, no, we're all going to Disneyland on Saturday because this is family time. So I did not take that away from him, because I wanted him to know that family time means love and understanding, and that we are a unit. But he paid for it in another way. So, they still have repercussions, and they still have to follow through with whatever discipline we attach to whatever mistake they did. But that family time, that bonding time, showed to him that we cared and that we loved him, because we wanted to be together during that time. During this time, once again, it is kind of hard. it's hard for our children to spend time with people other than ourselves, but we can find a way. But there are rules now, socially distancing, but I know we don't want our children to be in the computer that often, but having that Zoom time, just to Zoom with your friends is a good idea, just for them to have that interaction, or even other family members. I know with some of my coworkers, when the pandemic first started, we realized that before we weren't making that much effort or time to be with our extended family members. And what this actually created was a time for us to bond with people that we normally would not see or hear from in over years. You know, whether it's somebody from another state, somebody from another country. My mom, who's 76, learned to Zoom. And so that connected her with others. So this is have that opportunity for them to connect with other people other than your family members. And of course, encourage your children to try things that they might not otherwise be interested in. Maybe even try it together, like I said. It's very important that I am really a person who values showing affection. And so even if it is a hug and showing that interest to your child, it really will make a difference. And taking that time to listen, really listen. There are some resources available if you are not comfortable talking to your children, or we do have the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline that your children can text and call. You can call as well to get some resources or just tips on next steps. And we also do have, on the next slide, you will see that I put that the Parent University will hold another workshop on May 6th with NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness organization. They will be providing a 45-minute workshop on mental health. The Trevor Project is a very reliable and popular organization as well. They provide a lot of support, especially for our LGBTQ community plus. And then we have the Los Angeles County Youth Suicide Prevention Project. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us. And I'll send it over to Ms. Fast.
Hi, Ms. Valdez. Thank you so much. And thank you. Boy, there was a lot of information in there, families. I know I learned a lot, and I was listening, and, from everything from coaches' reports and teamwork with our schools and our students, all the way through, suicide prevention. So there was definitely a lot of information, families. We thank you for sticking with us through all of this. We do have some questions that have come through. There's a few parent questions. So team, if you're open for a few questions, if we could ask you some. Let's see. So there's a question about Apex planning. Sorry, they're coming in kind of quickly. I'll go through this one about additional elective classes and overall high school transcripts. Do our Apex students need to worry about transcripts or anything for next year, or will all of that just kind of seamlessly go into their high school programming for next year?
That is correct. Right now, the courses that your children are taking in Apex are going to be listed in their middle school transcripts.
Okay. And then there are a couple questions in here, but I'm getting from our team that's field looking at the questions that we're going to have some teachers maybe reach out to parents who ask some specific questions. So hopefully when parents, you are putting in the information, if you have some time now, if you didn't put in your contact information, you can go ahead and put your contact information in, and we will definitely have schools and counselors and our Apex team reach out to parents individually on some of the questions that we weren't able to get through today. We are very cognizant of your time, so we want to thank you all for being here. Again, a lot of resources out there that our teachers gave today and Ms. Valdez gave today. If you have more questions specifically for your student's grade, I encourage you to speak to your student's teacher about specific grade questions. A lot of the questions that come in have been very specific about a student's grade. So we really encourage you to talk to the teacher. And again, we'll have our team follow up with that as well. But thank you, parents, for joining us today. If you're here with us live, thank you for taking the time to be here. If you're watching this after the fact, we thank you for finding us and for finding our YouTube link. We're here every Thursday with the Parent University Workshop. We'll be here next Thursday too. So again, thank you everybody for being here. Thank you to our Apex team for your knowledge and your expertise that you're sharing with us today. And we will see everybody next time. So again, thank you very much for your time.